Hey guys, GhazzyTV here with another Path of Exile guide. Today we're going to talk about harvest and a couple of tips and tricks and other things that I've discovered and other people have discovered. And I'll also go through some opinions from my own about the league, what I feel about it. And do a quick note, I will be posting a guide of the finalized version of my Penance and Arcanized build guide, which turned into an elementalist crit version, which is absolutely destroying everything. It's absolutely crazy how good it is. However, it seems like Wave of Conviction is bugged with multiple hits. Even if that's fixed, it's still going to do a lot of damage, but it might be comparable to Glacial Cascade. So have a look at that. Either way, I'm going to focus on the harvest league mechanic, and I just want to say that it doesn't matter if you optimize your harvest mechanic approach at all. It's more about what you would like to do with it. I feel that the league is lacking a lot of depth. It feels very easy once you set it up, and I think a lot of people will simply just look up a optimal way to plant everything and then just follow that. And obviously I will have a link to a Reddit thread in the description below doing exactly that. However, the consensus, the basics of it is that you want to have tier 1 seed farm spots, and the best way to do this is to have them away from the middle of the area, because basically what you do is you gather tier 1 seeds, which I don't have right now, but they are planted in this area, and then they have to go through a set amount of cycles, and the cycle is when you click the seed cache in a map. So basically the more maps you're running, you click the seed cache, the more cycles your seeds are going through. If you hover over your collector, you can see a little thin blue line covering that's within that thin blue line is where you would need to place these seeds. And then you basically run maps for X amount of cycles. So in this case, I do believe it's 3 cycles, and these are ready to pop. And then they will grant you a set of random modifiers. We'll have a link in the description below to the set list of available crafts that comes from these seeds, so you can navigate to see which ones you actually want. So once you do this, you're able to basically initiate by clicking the harvest key, begin harvesting the life force, and these seeds that are complete will then become monsters that you kill, and that you will get life force to craft with. I'm going to show the crafting at the end of this video. You can also have auto plant seeds, which basically auto plants tier 1 seeds in this area, which is very nice to be honest, but you don't want to do that at all times when it comes to higher tier seeds. So in this cluster, you can see that I have one here that requires 2 more growth cycles before it is ready. Everything else is ready. It just shines up a little bit brighter blue, fully covered circles. And in this box here, I have a couple of ones that requires 2 more growth cycles, a couple more here before they're ready. Now, when you do this, as I mentioned before, the idea is to have the tier 1 seed spots out at the corner so that you can then move condensed life force, which I'll explain how that works, through pylons all the way into a midsection where you want to do the higher tier seeds. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick as well. So before we go into that, I'm going to show you the details of how the condensed life force works. So basically I'm going to pop this one, I'm going to kill it, and we'll do this, explode, I'm going down to that, and now I have created this sorted life force, and you can see here 569 life force, and this is something that scales with the level of the actual seeds. First thing to note about this is that the level of seeds can only be applied to item levels. My understanding, the highest item level you can put the craft on is only 10 item levels higher. So let's say you do a level 70 map, you get seeds from that one. You can only apply those to a maximum of item level 80 items. So you can't farm 2 low tiers to craft the higher endgame items. In this case, I've reforged a link between sockets of item, linking 3 sockets. And at the left corner, you see that I have a 3 quantity of this, which means I can do this craft 3 times as long as my life force allows me. I even have one for 5 link, and the right hand side here, this number is showing me the actual cost of it. This is life force cost, and you can see that up there. And so we got a bunch of these, and in the bottom there's condensed life force. Now if you look at my collector, you can see that I have stored primal force, life force 50 out of 50. That means that this collector can actually store 50 life force itself. In this case I actually have capped life force in this, and I do not have an optimal layout in my harvest. I just want that said. So if I wanted to store this, I would then use pylons to connect to it, which you do by clicking it. So if this is unconnected, I would have to place a pylon like this and click on the button and then click on the collector, and it would then connect that pylon. And from my knowledge, you can only connect 3 pieces to a pylon. So I want to connect that to this one, and then what I'm doing is I'm creating a chain. So this pylon would now be connected to a variety of storage tanks. So this is connected to a chain, and as I've already noticed by checking this one, all my storage tanks are full. So I'm going to show you how to do that by simply crafting a couple of storage, and we're just going to do that and actually have a bunch. So what you can do, it's very simple. If you place a pylon and you connect that to your tier 1 seed farms like this, you then connect that to another pylon like this, and then have a bunch of storage tanks. Now what's really cool here is that then, since these are connected to both your collectors, you can just connect them to one pylon, which is then connected to a farm spot or storage spot, if you will. You can just connect these to as many of those as you can. I've reached the maximum, so I'll take the other one for that one. This now means that all of this is connected to the chain that I have over here, and it's also connected to a bit of a farm spot I have for this. Obviously, the link in the description below will show you how to optimize this type of layout, but it's basically the same thing. So this is if you don't care about optimization, you just want to do it for fun. And then click this, and you can see that this is no longer going to be wasting my life force. By clicking this one, I now filled up one of the storage tanks, and this is how you condense energy. This is very important for the higher tier seeds. So that's the process of actually doing this, and then if I want to put normal seeds, I click this one, and I will place the tier 1s. I'm not going to do that right now though. And you can control left click this button to pick them up. You can do that on seeds that are finished, to pick them up as well if you want to. And also to bring this menu up wherever you are inside Harvest, you click the V for victory. That's the lead mechanic key. So now that you know how to plant and harvest tier 1 seeds and how to store condensed energy, and we're going to move on and see that my chain is leading us all the way in here. Keep in mind I've done this with these seeds as well, and I'll probably optimize this for a later point. And in here we have a thing called dispensers, and over here I have placed my purple tier 1 farm spot. Then we're going to talk about the higher tier seeds and how to initiate them. That's very simple. We then look at tier 2 seeds, for example the tier 2 vivids. I see that I can put implicit modifier to a certain jewel type. These are some tier 2 seeds, doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pop these, because I usually organize them. These tier 2 seeds requires wild. So basically these requires purple energy, but they are yellow seeds. And the ones I put here requires blue energy, but they are still yellow seeds. So I try to organize them to make it easier for me to see. So I collect the ones, and I use one type extra and the other one that requires the other one in another corner. So with these tier 2 seeds, we're now going to be planting them, which has to be planted within the box of a yellow collector, because they're yellow seeds. And then I have to supply them with, in this case, purple energy or wild energy, which I do through the pylon chain from my storage tanks of purple energy. And I move them into an actual dispenser. And the dispenser can be crafted with energy. And then I move that energy into this one. And basically, I would just put these seeds in. And if you look at this one, I have a purple here and I have a blue here. So I will then make sure that these seeds are within the yellow box and also within the purple box. So the tier 2 seeds cannot be outside of this purple box created by the dispenser. In this case, I will place some of the seeds over here that are tier 2. I'll do this, and if you hover over it, it will tell me that I have to check off 2 different boxes. The first one is the one we're going to go through last, which is the wild energy condensed life force to grow, which we're providing through the dispenser. You can manually do it by clicking disperse life force, which will then just squirt away some wild energy to these seeds so they can grow. but usually you just click auto disperse. So by having this one, that will be taken care of by itself as long as you have purple energy, which you can get by condensing life force after harvesting, for example, a tier 1 set of farming, which is why you have different sets or different corners for tier 1 farming. The other box says that it requires 4 adjacent other yellow seeds. So in this one, I need 2 more because it's connected to, or it's adjacent to the other 2 tier 4 seeds. This one needs 3 and this one needs 3. So I could put another tier 4 seed right there. I could also put another tier 4 seed here and another one here. Now we can check that the second box on both of these are already sorted because they're adjacent to 4 other yellow seeds. And these requires 1 more each, which means that we can then go to our seed tab and go to the yellow ones, and we'll just pick up some of these. Oops, that one. Okay, nice. Don't do that. No. And then these seeds are, that's a tier 2, that's a tier 2, that's a pylon, and this is a tier 1 seed. These are not required to be within this purple circle. They just need to be within the collector, which is the yellow one. So I put these 2 here. You can now confirm by hovering over that these 2 now have checked the second box, which means that these are actually able to grow as long as I have purple energy being provided, which I have the auto disperse on. I'll do the same thing on this side, and now I can confirm that all of them are actually boxes checked for that. And if I click disperse manually, then you can double check that this is in case this is actually correct, everything's working. But just keep the auto disperse on, you don't have to worry about it. So for the sake of it, I'm gonna just pop some of these seeds. I have these tier 2 because I haven't bothered farming them too much, and we're just gonna put this, and you see that I still need 1 more for those. So I'll take 2 more seeds here. I'll misclick in this time. Put 1 on this side and 1 on this side. And again, you see that they are working. Now I can't manually disperse again without going out of the area and in again. So instead, I'm just going to leave the auto disperse on, and these I know will be checked on the first box. If you want to double check how much energy you have in purple, you can then go double check this chain I have up to my little storage and see that these are empty. But I have another set of 600 and a bunch of that one, so this shouldn't be a problem. If they stop growing, you can always check how much energy you have in your storage tanks. So now all I have to do is go out and do maps, and they have to grow for a cycle amount of 7 for this one, 6 for this one. These require 6, 6, 6. So basically what these are telling me is that I need to go through 6 seed caches, which in general means that you have to do 6 maps before you can actually harvest these tier 2 seeds. Now, this is the way you actually farm this, and every time you farm tier 1 seeds, you have a chance of dropping tier 2 seeds. Every time you do tier 2, you can drop tier 3 and so on. And that's the way you do it. The other part that you can do is actually get yourself the big boy crafts, which is a hortification, can't even pronounce it, hortification, crafting station, which is crossing 1800, I believe, life force. You'll be able to get more life force as you progress higher to your seeds, as well as higher level of seeds. This one, you're able to actually store life force, or sorry, the crafting methods. And as you can see here, it says that you can store up to 3 crafts. So if you find something that's really valuable, or you might not have a proper item you want to craft with it, then this is a good way to actually do so. I haven't had any use of it, and basically what you do is you connect the pylon to the crafting station, and then the pylon connected to the collector. So very simple. This will show you exactly how it works. I'll show you on this one right here. I'll put the crafting station here. I'll put a pylon up. I connect it to the collector, and then I'll connect it to the station, which will then allow me to actually save crafts into the station this way as you're doing this. And you don't have to have this connected as you're doing it. You can connect them when you're crafting and you realize, oh shit, I want to save this one. okay, let's just connect the crafting station and do it there. But do keep in mind you can only have 3. I'm not sure if there's a possibility for us to increase that. And there's also a little bit of an input text of crafting option stored here. Indefinitely select an option, place an item in slot craft. Crafting options are consumed when used, and you can destroy unwanted crafting options at no cost. So you can always clear them if you don't want to save them anymore. That's basically the process of crafting with the harvest. It feels very simple once you get the hang of it, and it's more of a nuisance to place everything and farm it, and it doesn't really feel like you're farming anything. It's basically just pick an item up, or in this case seeds, and then you go in and do this. Another neat trick that I've been doing to avoid having them taking a lot of space in my inventory is when you encounter this in a map, I would basically just have them in my inventory. I go into this craft or this harvest location in the garden, and as soon as I go in, I click the V key and just control click in the seeds. So basically it would look like this, and I go into the area, and the first thing I do is click V, control click them in, and then go out of the portal immediately. So that way I will waste as little time as possible when it comes to this. Or if you want to place them immediately every map, then you can do that. So last but not least, I do want to talk about this. This link is in the description below. This is made by a couple of people by now, showing you some optimal ways to actually place the seeds. And it looks very daunting at first, but if you want to be optimal in the way you're crafting or working with the Harvest League, this could be a nice way. I didn't really care about it too much. I'm probably going to set this up within the next couple of days, so I don't have to think about it, because again, it would have been more fun to just go around and explore yourself, but at a certain point I feel like I don't want to do that, and I just want to have it done so I can focus on the crafting, which I'm actually enjoying a lot. So in this case, it's showing you 3 different corners. You could do this many different ways, so this is just one of them. Many different corners, 3 different corners for tier 1 farming, and as you can see here, they're placing pylons to connect everything, and then a pylon going to 2 different storage areas. And you have the same thing here. You have a bunch of storage areas just to have a bunch of energy stored for you to connect when it comes to storing the energy for the higher tier seeds. And then you have that for the yellow as well. And then you can see the 3, or in this case 6 different areas. You have 3 for tier 2 seeds, and you have 3 for tier 3 seeds. And then showing you the most optimal way to place the pylons as well as the dispenser, and also to be able to optimize the amount of placements to grow as many tier 3 or tier 4 seeds as possible in this case. Now, I'm probably going to try this out, but I also feel that this is a bit excessive. It takes a bit of time to set up, but once you have it, you don't have to think about it anymore. But that's it. I'll leave a link in the description below for the people that would like to do that. But yeah, my final thoughts on the league has been that I really like the crafting. I really do. Show you a quick craft we've been doing. Take this one, just to show you how it works, because you haven't gotten that far or are new in the league. So basically the crafting works like this. You get different crafts like I showed you before. You get an item from your inventory and place them, and then you get to choose the way you want to craft it. However, you can click this little button here to go to your inventory. However, if I want to craft this ring as an example, I cannot craft this. It is impossible to touch this because the item it remove only stash tabs cannot be modified. The only thing I can do is left click it, and it will enter here, and it will be temporarily be in this window for me to craft on. In this case, I can only do this one, and I click craft, and I can look at what it turned into. Looks like utter trash to me. So I do this one, and that looks trash, and I do it again. It looks trash, and if you left click it, it goes back to your stash again, not your inventory. And then there was nothing else, and I just condense it, and I wasted that because I don't have full energy consumption as well. So basically, I feel that there's a lack of depth because the farming or the harvesting feels very dull and generic, and it's very easy to understand once you get the hang of it. It's getting the hang of it that's the problem. But in general, I'm not very happy with the depth of the league. However, I am extremely satisfied with the crafting. It feels very fun to do. Everything from 5 linking items to getting some absolutely stupid crafts. I got myself a shaper ring, for example, and instead of wasting my currency, every time I had annoying crafts or crafts I didn't want to use, I used them as a pseudo chaos orb spam on my ring till I got my assassin's marker hit. So I didn't waste any currency getting this ring whatsoever. So there's stuff like that you can do very easily. And then you have the targeting crafts, for example. This shield I was crafting, I got myself the lightning damage as extra chaos because I added a lightning, specifically augmented the item with a lightning modifier, for example. And then you can actually re-roll these modifiers with targeted ancient orbing and whatnot. So there's a lot of crafts you can do, and for someone who loves crafting and has a lot of experience crafting, this is very fun for me, and I think this is a nice way to introduce people to actually crafting in general. I must say that it felt very overkill in terms of the early game stages though. Absolutely going nuts with leveling items and whatnot. So it's not a mechanic I think anyone should skip in the early stage of the game, because you can get such insane items. Also, things like getting a free 5 link is very simple. Even 6 link through a few other crafts is very simple to get a hold of as well. But that's my take on the Harvest League. I hope this guide helped you out. And actually I want to mention one thing as well. One last thing when it comes to crafting. When you're crafting, like I mentioned before, you're in a situation where you can get items from your stash and then use as a pseudo chaos orb. You can do that with maps as well. You don't have to use your alchemy orbs. You can just go to your map and put any of these maps in, and then basically just put them with whatever crafts. If there's a lightning modifier, you're probably going to get some lightning modifiers on the map, but that's a cheap way for you to actually roll your maps with alch orbs. So you can alch pretty much anything you have. Any map you're running, you can preemptively alchemy orb. If you have enough energy condensed for tier 2 suits, or you don't care about it, you can literally use the harvest mechanic to roll your maps, which is a very, very, very satisfying way to do it. Either way, that's it for this video. I hope it helped you out, and I'll be posting a full-blown build guide for the build I'm playing right now with the Arcanist and Penance brand. And I actually believe that once we see what they're going to do with the Wave of Conviction bug, I will most likely do a full written forum thread for it as well. So, if you want to help the channel out, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Until next time, stay safe and keep rocking.